Hey, what's up, Spooky fam? Welcome to day 3 of Disturbing Horror Movie Week. Today we are talking about an anthology. An anthology that I kind of had higher hopes and expectations for, and that is Three Extremes. And we'll talk about that in a second. But tomorrow's video is also an anthology of sorts type of video. You know what? I thought I planned better for this week. We have 2 of the same director. We have 2 anthologies. I'd actually do better. We're gonna do better for Christmas. We're doing better for not even Christmas, for winter horror movie related reviews, and that's coming in December. So strap in because we have a lot to catch up on. So Three Extremes is 3 stories revolving around a witch doctor, an encounter between a filmmaker and a resentful extra, and a novelist and her twin sister. The 3 segments are done by Hong Kong director Fruit Chan, South Korean director Park Chan-wook, and Japanese director Takashi Miike, who we are big fans of around here. Three Extremes is also a sequel to 3 from 2002. So there are 3 segments, and I'm just going to kind of gloss over Dumplings because Dumplings was made into a full-length feature film, and that is the one directed by the Hong Kong director Fruit Chan, who I'm not too familiar with, but Park Chan-wook and Takashi Miike we are familiar with here. So like I mentioned, I'm just going to kind of glaze over Dumplings. It has a lot of heavy themes, and I feel like this is one of the more disturbing. I think this is probably the most disturbing segment in this anthology, and I do encourage you guys to check out this one because there are some sounds, some chewing noises that'll kind of make you feel unsettled. So Dumplings. Aging actress Mrs. Lee wants to rejuvenate her youth and attract her husband, who is secretly having an affair with a much younger woman. She begins buying dumplings from a woman named Aunt May. Aunt May, I would not trust that woman from a mile. Something wrong with her. Aunt May claims she is much older than she looks due to eating the dumplings she serves, and to Mrs. Lee's disgust, she finds out the dumplings are made from schmorpted fetuses, and Aunt May takes them from a secret schmorption facility. She's also a midwife and performs schmorptions herself. I'm trying to go around YouTube's, trying not to flag YouTube here for bad words. And so she persisted. Mrs. Lee continues to eat the dumplings because she's noticing, she's liking the effects, and one batch of dumplings have a positive effect on Miss Lee's sex drive, but it makes her break out in a fishy smelling rash, and it's the result of the fetus she ate being a boy and a product of keeping it in the family, if you catch my drift. The authorities come to raid Aunt May's home, but she had already fled, and 2 months later, Mrs. Lee is now 2 months pregnant, even though she was declared infertile, like a Trisha Paytas situation, you know what I'm saying? She is still desperate for rejuvenation and chooses to schmort her own fetus and presumably makes it a dumpling. And I'm not saying that Trisha Paytas is going to eat her baby. I'm saying she says she was infertile for a very long time and now has a beautiful, healthy child named Malibu Barbie. Anyways, I digress. Like I mentioned, Dumplings was made into a full feature-length film, so if you want more of the disturbing themes in that, check that out. But like I said, that was more of the disturbing. I don't know, I guess the next one was okay, but I really wasn't. This was pretty mid for me. And it's not like I didn't enjoy the segments. It's not like I didn't think that they were effective. It's just I've seen more disturbing things, and I feel like it has to do with the time that this movie was made. This came out in 2004. and I feel like this probably shocked a lot of audiences around that time. But it's 2023. I own Solo on Criterion. You know, it's a different time. So this next one is kind of a longer segment, so I'm going to spend a little more time kind of breaking it down. This one, like I mentioned, is directed by Park Chan-wook. So some of you may be familiar with Park Chan-wook in the Vengeance trilogy, specifically Old Boy, which I feel like you guys are gonna get a little bit of the same kind of, there's a theme near the end. There's been dogs barking out there all day. Oh, this is why I'm thinking of I Saw the Devil, because this stars the lead in I Saw the Devil. A successful director faces a night of misery when a former extra captures both him and his wife to play a deadly game. The wife, a pianist, is gagged and trapped in a system of wires at her piano, and that's giving audition vibe, you know, like the piano. They cut through bone so easily. The director, the husband, is then instructed to strangle a young girl that the extra met on the way home, or else the wife's fingers will be chopped off one by one every 5 minutes. That in itself, I mean, like, just thinking about that, imagine like your fingers, just use them up for everything, just, oh, no more. Use. The extra then reveals he is just jealous of the director because he's rich and a good man while he is poor and abused his wife and son, the former whom of which he's murdered. The director, husband, tries to buy time, tells stories about how he's been unfaithful to his wife, comes out she's also been unfaithful to him, and it's just, like I said in the last video, an amalgamation of shit. But he tries to buy time to no avail because the extra chops off 9 of the 10 of the woman's fingers. The filmmaker decides to try and strangle the young girl, also to no avail, but the young girl's wig falls off and it turns out it's the extra's son. Plot twist! He really likes doing the surprise! It's your kid, just like an old boy, if you know, you know. The extra is stopped when he slips on a ring that fell off of a finger of the wife that was cut off, and I feel like that, like, we've been watching the Hostel movies, and I feel like that's a scenario that would definitely happen in a Hostel movie. But he is now trapped with the wife in the piano wire, and she just, like, starts taking chunks out of him, right out of his neck, and lets him bleed out. And the director, the husband, is now traumatized and absolutely delusional and starts strangling his wife, thinking it's the young boy, talking to her as if it is the young boy, but he strangles his wife to death, thinking that it's the child, thinking it's going to still do something. But there's one specific scene in that short where the first time he goes to strangle the child, and he says to, I'm not doing this because I hate you kind of thing, I'm doing this because I have to. And that's in itself is like a very scary thought to people who are like motivated. We just watched a movie called The Dare, and there are people who are trapped. It's a revenge film, but they are in a situation where they are committing to doing things to each other to get the captor to stay, like, to not hurt them, I guess. So, like, I don't know, it's giving that kind of vibe, like committing to violence, and like knowing it's happening, but like knowing you can't do it, and it's not personal, but like you have to. I don't know. So this next one is directed by Takashi Miike, who did Audition, like I just mentioned, Ichi the Killer, you know, very fun, lighthearted films. I hope you can feel the sarcasm in my voice. But I really enjoy Takashi Miike, and I feel like he gives you drama, but then he follows it up with the gut punch and the extreme. But this one, I just didn't feel like it did it for me. I feel like the reveal was too short. But let's get into it, because I feel like this one also is going to need a little bit of a longer explanation. But the kid actors, they were so dedicated to this. They were so good in this. And I feel like that's what made this one for me. So this one is called Box, for obvious reasons ahead. Kyoko, a 25-year-old novelist, experiences frequent nightmares of her past as a circus performer. I wonder if Steve-O has nightmares about being a circus performer. When she was 10, her and her twin sister Shoko worked in a circus with their father figure, Higata. Kyoko feels neglected and jealous of the attention Shoko gets. One day while training, Kyoko locks Shoko in a box. And the way that these kids are stuffed in these boxes for these like magic tricks they did in the circus, it feels like they're not in the box all the way, and then like you can see their little bodies being pushed down as the lid goes down. And I feel like that just adds the element of claustrophobia, where it's like, oh, something is bad here, something is gonna go downhill fast. So like I mentioned, one day while training, Kyoko locked Shoko in a box, and Higata watched the incident and tried to rescue Shoko, but Kyoko attacks him and scars his face. Negligence? Someone who gets neglected, like, let me tell you, it is a deep-seated hatred, and you can get over it many ways, and this poor little girl took it out in violence. She accidentally lights the box with Shoko in it on fire, and since then, Kyoko lives with guilt and longing to apologize to her sister. Her publisher also resembles Higata, except he is more caring, and one day, Kyoko follows an invitation back to her old circus, only to discover the box with Shoko's burned remains inside of it. She is confronted by Higata, who is upset after the incident and tells her the sisters are more important to him as one entity and not as two girls. He lures her into kissing him, and I kind of felt weird about this until I was researching the movie itself, and it says that he's more of a benefactor, or like a father figure, or someone who is taking care of them, taking care of their money, you know, just being that parental figure. So like it's still weird, but anyways, he covers her in a plastic sack, and you know, that's a fucking terrifying scene, because one of my worst fears, I will say, one of my worst fears is the plastic bag and just breathing, like Black Christmas, you know, when they just she's in the attic and the bag is in her mouth because she's been trying to get air, and it's vacuum sealed in her mouth. Like, that's one of my biggest fears, and I feel like that is so relevant in this scene. But yeah, she gets buried, but plot twist, it was a dream. The sisters have actually been conjoined since birth, and that whole reveal there, I feel like it was just so short. Now I can say, in my intro, you guys would have seen that one little clip of the sisters kind of like walking together conjoined. That's all you get in that one short. Like, that's the only reveal. I feel like they were, it looks disturbing because one is definitely younger than the other, but I don't know, I wish I would have got more. But the publisher that I mentioned earlier and their father figure, one and the same person, just in dream life and real life, if you will. So those are heavy shorts, but I feel like I just wasn't as disturbed as I was expecting, if you will. I need something to really fuck me up. That's sad to say. I just feel like movies don't, God, they don't have that like ick factor in them anymore. But I just want to wrap this up very quickly by talking about why I chose 3 extremes to talk about. We essentially get 3 short, disturbing horror films for the price of 1. It's about 2 hours long, so it does have a long run time, but you're getting 3 shorts that pack a punch. This also feels like a really good introduction to Asian disturbing cinema, like Asia Extreme, but also anthologies. If you guys like an anthology on the more extreme side, this one is for you. It's also not, it's shocking, but I don't feel like things feel as shocking as they're delivered or as they sound, because when you're watching Dumplings and you know that she's eating babies and she's chewing and you can hear the bone, I feel like it's things like that that are more disturbing. It's audible things and things that are just kind of delivered to you in different ways than like visually disturbing. So if you like that kind of thing, check out Three Extremes. Tomorrow's video, we're gonna try to keep it short because it's kind of heavy, but it's taxidermia. I believe it is from 2006. We'll get there tomorrow, but yeah, it's lots of buttholes. So we'll see you tomorrow. Sayonara, Spooky fam.